First contact. The vast emptiness of space had long been a source of wonder and speculation for the Zarkonian Empire. For millennia, they had expanded their reach across the galaxy, encountering countless primitive species and lifeless planets. But nothing could have prepared them for their fateful discovery of Earth. Admiral Krelvax stood on the bridge of the Zarkonian flagship, his 4 eyes fixed on the holographic display of a small blue planet. Curious, he muttered, his tentacles twitching with interest. This world seems to harbor life. His second-in-command, Subcommander Zix, approached with a datapad. Indeed, Admiral, our initial scans indicate a thriving ecosystem and signs of rudimentary civilization. Krelvax's skin rippled with amusement. Rudimentary, how quaint. What level of technology are we dealing with? Zix consulted the pad. They appear to be in the early stages of space exploration. They sent primitive machines to their nearby celestial bodies, but haven't ventured beyond their own star system. The Admiral chuckled, a guttural sound that reverberated through his gelatinous form. Hardly a challenge for the mighty Zarkonian Empire. Prepare a scouting party. Let's see what these creatures are capable of. As the Zarkonian ships entered Earth's atmosphere, cloaked from detection, they marveled at the diversity of the planet's surface. Vast oceans, sprawling cities, and lush forests painted a picture of a world teeming with potential resources. The scouting party touched down in a remote area, careful to avoid immediate detection. As they emerged from their craft, the alien visitors were struck by the unfamiliar sensations. The feel of grass beneath their tentacles, the warmth of the sun on their translucent skin, and the gentle breeze carrying a myriad of scents. Fascinating, remarked Dr. Elos, the team's xenobiologist. The atmospheric composition is unlike anything we've encountered, and the biodiversity, it's staggering. Captain Vreen, leader of the scouting party, was less impressed. Focus on the task at hand, Doctor. We need to assess the dominant species' capabilities. As they cautiously explored their surroundings, the Zarkonians were oblivious to the fact that their arrival hadn't gone unnoticed. Miles away, in a secret underground facility, alarms blared as satellites detected an anomaly in the atmosphere. General Sara Chen strode into the control room, her face a mask of determination. "Report," she barked. A young technician swiveled in his chair, his eyes wide with excitement and fear. "Ma'am, we've detected an unidentified object entering Earth's atmosphere. It doesn't match any known aircraft or satellite." Chen's eyes narrowed. "Location?" "It appears to have landed in the Rocky Mountains, ma'am." The general turned to her team. "I want eyes on that site immediately. Deploy drones and alert our nearest field agents. And not a word of this leaves this room, understood?" As the human response mobilized, the Zarkonian scouting party continued their exploration, blissfully unaware of the storm they were about to unleash. Captain Vreen activated his communication device. "Admiral, initial observations suggest this species poses no significant threat. Their dwellings are primitive, and we've yet to encounter any advanced weaponry." Back on the flagship, Admiral Krelvax's tentacles writhed with anticipation. "Excellent. Proceed with caution, but begin preparations for a full invasion. This world will make a fine addition to our empire." Little did the Zarkonians know, they were about to learn a harsh lesson about underestimating humanity. As night fell, the scouting party retreated to their ship to compile their findings. Dr. Elos was particularly excited about a device they had acquired from an abandoned campsite, a smartphone. "This little machine is remarkable," he exclaimed, his tentacles delicately probing the device. "It appears to be a communication tool, but it's capable of so much more. Information storage, image capture, even rudimentary artificial intelligence." Captain Vreen scoffed. "A primitive toy, nothing more. Our technology is centuries beyond this." Suddenly, the ship's sensors blared a warning. Multiple fast-moving objects approaching our position, the navigation officer reported. Outside, a squadron of stealth helicopters converged on the alien craft, their sleek forms barely visible in the moonlight. General Chen, strapped into the lead chopper, spoke into her headset. "Remember, we want to capture, not destroy. Use EMPs if necessary, but I want that ship intact." As the Zarkonians scrambled to respond to the unexpected threat, they quickly realized their error in judgment. The humans' aircraft were faster and more maneuverable than they had anticipated, and their weapons, while not as advanced as Zarkonian technology, were far from primitive. "Impossible," Captain Vreen muttered as he watched the humans' coordinated attack. "How could they have detected us?" In the ensuing chaos, the scouting party managed to lift off, but not before sustaining significant damage. As they limped back to the safety of their fleet, the reality of their situation began to sink in. Admiral Krelvax received the scouting party's report with growing concern. "It seems we may have underestimated these humans," he mused. "No matter. We will crush them with the full might of our empire." As the Zarkonian fleet prepared for invasion, Earth's leaders gathered in emergency sessions. The existence of alien life was now an undeniable reality, and humanity faced its greatest challenge yet. In the White House Situation Room, President Elena Rodriguez addressed her cabinet and military advisors. "Ladies and gentlemen, we stand at a crossroads in human history. An alien force is poised to invade our world, and we must be ready to defend our home." General Chen, freshly returned from the encounter in the Rockies, spoke up. "Madam President, based on what we've seen, these aliens possess technology far beyond our own. But they've made a critical mistake. They've underestimated us." The room buzzed with a mixture of fear and determination. Secretary of Defense James Wilson leaned forward. "What are you proposing, General?" Chen's eyes gleamed with fierce resolve. "We may not match them in firepower, but we have something they don't expect: the indomitable human spirit. We've faced extinction-level threats before, from ice ages to world wars. Each time, we've not only survived but thrived." President Rodriguez nodded slowly. "You're right. We need to rally the world. This isn't just about America. It's about the survival of our species." As the meeting concluded, a global broadcast was prepared. Soon, televisions, radios, and internet streams across the planet would carry a message that would change the course of human history. "My fellow citizens of Earth," President Rodriguez began, her voice steady and resolute. "Today, we face a threat unlike any in our history. An alien force is preparing to invade our world, but we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive." As her words echoed across the globe, humanity began to prepare for the greatest battle it had ever faced. In labs and factories, on military bases, and in civilian homes, a spirit of innovation and determination took hold. The Zarkonians, orbiting above, remained confident in their superiority. But as the first wave of their invasion force descended upon the Earth, they were about to learn a valuable lesson. Never underestimate the humans. The invasion begins. As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, the sky ignited with an otherworldly glow. Massive Zarkonian ships descended through Earth's atmosphere, their sleek forms casting long shadows over cities and landscapes alike. The invasion had begun. Admiral Krelvax observed the unfolding scene from his command center, his 4 eyes gleaming with anticipation. "Commence the first wave," he ordered, his voice rippling with authority. "Let these humans witness the might of the Zarkonian Empire." Across the globe, panic and chaos erupted as alien craft appeared over major cities. In New York, towering skyscrapers trembled in the wake of Zarkonian energy weapons. In Tokyo, swarms of smaller fighter craft engaged in aerial dogfights with hastily scrambled human jets. The streets of London echoed with the sound of alien weaponry and human screams. But amidst the terror, pockets of resistance began to form. In the ruins of downtown Los Angeles, Marine Sergeant Jack Harper rallied a group of survivors. "Listen up," he shouted over the din of distant explosions. "I'm a little scared. Hell, we're all scared. But we've got a job to do. These alien bastards think they can just waltz in and take our planet. Not on our watch. A trembling civilian, clutching a makeshift weapon, spoke up. But how can we fight them? They've got spaceships and laser guns. Harper's eyes blaze with determination. And we've got something they don't, home field advantage. We know every street, every building, every nook and cranny of this city. We'll make them fight for every inch. As Harper organized his ragtag group into an effective guerrilla force, similar scenes played out across the globe. Humanity, faced with an overwhelming threat, was adapting and fighting back with everything they had in the skies above Beijing. Chinese fighter pilot Lai Mai executed a daring maneuver, leading a Zirconian pursuit craft into the dense smog that blanketed the city. Using her intimate knowledge of the urban landscape, she weaved between buildings at breakneck speed, eventually causing her alien pursuer to crash into a skyscraper. "This is Thunder 1, she radioed to her squadron. "Their ships are fast, but they're not used to our atmosphere or terrain. Use that to your advantage." Meanwhile, in a secret facility deep beneath the Swiss Alps, Dr. Elena Rossi worked feverishly to unlock the secrets of alien technology. A piece of debris from a downed Zirconian fighter lay on her workbench, its strange alloys glowing faintly under the lab lights. "Fascinating," she muttered, her eyes never leaving the microscope. "Their materials science is centuries ahead of ours. The underlying principles. Yes, I think we can work with this." Her colleague, Dr. Anand Patel, looked up from his computer terminal. "Elena, you need to see this. I've been analyzing their communication frequencies, and I think I found a pattern." As the two scientists huddled over the data, a spark of hope ignited. Perhaps they could find a way to disrupt the invaders' coordinated attacks. Back in space, Admiral Krelvax was growing increasingly frustrated. "How is this possible?" he bellowed, his tentacles lashing out in anger. "They're primitives. Why haven't we crushed them already?" Sub-Commander Zix approached cautiously. "Admiral, our forces are reporting unexpected resistance. The humans are using their knowledge of the terrain to ambush our troops, and their fighters, while technologically inferior, are proving remarkably adaptable." Krelvax's skin darkened with rage. "Impossible. I want every major city razed to the ground. Show these insects the true power of the Zirconian Empire." As the order was relayed, the intensity of the alien assault increased tenfold. Energy beams capable of vaporizing entire city blocks rained down from the sky. Zirconian ground forces, protected by energy shields, began to push deeper into human territory. In Washington, D.C., President Rodriguez stood in the ruins of the Pentagon, surveying the devastation. General Chen approached, her uniform tattered and smeared with ash. "Madam President, we need to consider activating the Doomsday Protocol," Chen said grimly. Rodriguez's eyes widened. "That's a last resort, Sarah. If we do that—" "I know the consequences," Chen interrupted. "But if we don't turn this around soon, we might not have a choice." Before the president could respond, a young lieutenant burst into the room. "Madam President, General, we're receiving reports from around the world. The aliens, they're starting to falter." Both women turned to the hastily set-up bank of monitors. Grainy footage from around the globe showed scenes of human resistance gaining ground. In Mumbai, a group of engineers had jury-rigged an EMP device, disabling a Zirconian walker. In Rio de Janeiro, civilians armed with Molotov cocktails were overwhelming alien ground troops in the narrow favela streets. "My God," Chen whispered, "they're actually doing it." Rodriguez's face hardened with resolve. "Get me aligned to our forces worldwide. It's time to coordinate our counterattack." As the battle raged on, the Zirconians began to realize that their initial assessment of humanity had been gravely mistaken. These weren't simple primitives to be conquered. They were a species forged in the fires of adversity, capable of incredible feats when pushed to the brink. In his command center, Admiral Krelvax watched with growing horror as more and more red indicators appeared on his tactical display. This is unprecedented, he muttered. How can they be turning the tide? Sub-Commander Zix, monitoring communications from the ground forces, turned to his superior. Admiral, our troops are reporting unusual tactics from the humans. They're using their own infrastructure against us, collapsing buildings to trap our units, using their primitive projectile weapons in ways we didn't anticipate. Krelvax's tentacles writhed in agitation. It doesn't matter. We still have superior technology, superior numbers. Press the attack. But as the hours turned into days, it became clear that superior technology alone wasn't enough. The humans, united as never before in the face of an existential threat, were proving to be far more resilient and innovative than the Zarkonians could have imagined. In labs around the world, scientists worked tirelessly to reverse engineer alien technology. On the battlefields, soldiers and civilians alike found creative ways to exploit the invaders' weaknesses. And in the hearts of every human, a fire burned, a determination to survive, to protect their home, and to show these alien invaders exactly why you should never mess with humanity. As the tide of battle began to turn, both humans and Zarkonians alike realized that this conflict would shape the destiny of two species, and potentially the entire galaxy. Human ingenuity unleashed. As the invasion entered its second week, the initial shock of alien contact had given way to a grim determination across the globe. Humanity, faced with extinction, was demonstrating an unprecedented capacity for adaptation and innovation. In the remnants of Silicon Valley, a coalition of tech giants had pooled their resources to create a global defense network. Elon Musk, his face haggard from sleepless nights, addressed a room full of the world's brightest minds via holographic conference. Ladies and gentlemen, what we're about to attempt has never been done before, Musk said, his voice carrying a mix of excitement and trepidation. We're going to hack the alien network. Dr. Aisha Patel, a prodigy in quantum computing, stepped forward. Our analysis of the Zarkonian communication frequencies has revealed a vulnerability. Their quantum encryption, while advanced, has a fatal flaw when interacting with Earth's unique magnetic field. Screens lit up around the room, displaying complex algorithms and schematics. If we can exploit this weakness, Aisha continued, we could potentially disrupt their entire command structure. As the tech team worked feverishly to implement their audacious plan, other fronts of human resistance were making significant strides. In the Australian outback, Aboriginal trackers were proving invaluable in locating hidden Zarkonian bases. That intimate knowledge of the land, passed down through generations, allowed them to spot anomalies that even advanced alien cloaking technology couldn't completely mask. Warrigal, an elder of the Pitjantjatjara people, stood atop a red rock formation, his eyes scanning the horizon. The land speaks, he said to the squad of special forces accompanying him. The invaders cannot hide from those who truly listen. Captain Jake Foster, leader of the squad, nodded respectfully. We're grateful for your help, sir. Without you, we'd be stumbling around in the dark. Warrigal's weathered face cracked into a smile. Your people are learning to listen too, young one. Perhaps some good will come from this invasion after all. Meanwhile, in the frozen wastes of Siberia, Russian scientists had made a breakthrough that could change the course of the war. Dr. Natalia Petrova stood before a group of international observers, her breath misting in the frigid air of the underground bunker. Comrades, she began, her voice filled with barely contained excitement, we have successfully reverse-engineered the Zarkonian energy shields. Gasps and murmurs filled the room. General Chen, representing the United States, leaned forward. Are you certain, Doctor? Petrova nodded, her eyes gleaming. Observe. With a flick of a switch, a shimmering field of energy enveloped a nearby tank. A moment later, a barrage of alien weaponry, captured during previous battles, was unleashed upon the vehicle. The energy beams splashed harmlessly against the shield. Incredible, Chen breathed. How soon can we implement this technology? We're already manufacturing units, Petrova replied. Within days, we'll be able to outfit our major military assets. Within weeks, we could potentially extend this protection to entire cities. As news of these developments spread, a renewed sense of hope began to take hold. Humanity was not just surviving, it was starting to push back. In orbit, aboard the Zirconian flagship, Admiral Krelvax was facing a crisis. How is this possible? He raged, his tentacles lashing out in frustration. These primitives are countering technologies it took us centuries to develop. Sub-Commander Zix approached cautiously, holding a datapad. Admiral, our analysis suggests that the humans' rate of technological advancement has increased exponentially since the invasion began. They're adapting our own technology and combining it with solutions we never considered. Krelvax's eyes narrowed. Explain. For instance, Zix continued, they found a way to use their planet's magnetic field to disrupt our quantum communications. And reports from the ground suggest they developed countermeasures to our energy shields. The Admiral's skin rippled with a mix of anger and grudging admiration. How? How are they doing this so quickly? Zix hesitated before responding. Ours and our psychologists have a theory, Admiral. The humans appear to have an unusual psychological response to extreme stress. Instead of breaking, they innovate. Their creativity seems to thrive under pressure. Back on Earth, this theory was being proven true in countless ways. In the flooded streets of Bangkok, local fishermen had modified their boats with salvaged alien technology, creating a fleet of swift, nearly invisible vessels that ran circles around the Zirconian patrols. In the mountains of Peru, Incan descendants used their ancestors' knowledge of hidden mountain paths to lead devastating guerrilla attacks against alien supply lines. The Zirconians, used to open warfare on a galactic scale, found themselves woefully unprepared for the intricacies of Earth's varied terrains and cultures. But perhaps the most significant breakthrough came from an unexpected source. In a makeshift lab in Lagos, Nigeria, a team led by Dr. Oluwaseun Adebayo had been working around the clock to understand the biological makeup of the Zirconians. It's revolutionary, Adebayo explained to a captivated audience of world leaders, connected via a secure holographic link. The Zirconian biology is silicon-based, fundamentally different from our carbon-based life. This makes them incredibly resilient in many ways, but it also presents a unique vulnerability. President Rodriguez leaned in, her holographic form flickering slightly. What kind of vulnerability, Doctor? Adebayo's face broke into a wide grin. They have no natural defenses against certain Earth bacteria. We've developed a compound that, while harmless to humans and Earth life, could effectively incapacitate Zirconian forces without killing them. A murmur of excitement rippled through the virtual gathering. This was the kind of breakthrough they had been hoping for, a way to neutralize the invasion without resorting to the total annihilation of an alien species. As plans were made to mass-produce and deploy Dr. Adebayo's compound, the mood on Earth shifted. For the first time since the invasion began, victory seemed not just possible, but probable. In cities around the world, impromptu celebrations broke out. The images of humans from all walks of life, soldiers and civilians, scientists and artists, young and old, coming together in the face of an overwhelming threat, became a powerful symbol of unity. Yet, even as humanity's spirits soared, the leaders of the world knew that the hardest part of the war was yet to come. The Zirconians, backed into a corner, would likely fight with even greater ferocity. And beyond the immediate threat of the invasion force, larger questions loomed. What would this mean for Earth's place in the galaxy? How would humanity handle the responsibility of being a spacefaring civilization? As dawn broke on another day of conflict, these questions hung in the air. But for now, the focus remained on the immediate challenge. Humanity had proven its resilience, its creativity, and its unwavering spirit. The message to the Zirconians: and any other alien race watching from afar, was clear, the turning point. The war had raged for a month, transforming the face of the earth. Cities lay in ruins, forests burned, and the skies were filled with the constant dance of human and alien aircraft. But in this crucible of conflict, humanity's spirit had been forged into something formidable. As the sun rose over the smoldering remains of what was once Paris, a coalition force of human soldiers prepared for what they hoped would be the decisive battle of the war. Operation Thunderstrike, as it had been dubbed, was humanity's boldest move yet. General Chen stood before a diverse group of soldiers from around the world. Americans stood shoulder to shoulder with Russians, Chinese troops alongside Nigerians. The invasion had done what decades of diplomacy couldn't. It had truly united the human race. Today, Chen began, her voice carrying across the makeshift base, we take the fight to them. Thanks to the brilliance of our scientists and the bravery of our reconnaissance teams, we now know the location of the Zarkonian Central Command ship. If we can take it out, we can cripple their entire invasion force. A holographic display flickered to life, showing a massive alien vessel hovering over the Atlantic Ocean. This ship, Chen continued, is not just their command center. It's also their main power source. Our mission is to infiltrate it, disable their defenses, and bring it down. Captain Yuki Tanaka, leader of the Japanese Special Forces contingent, raised her hand. General, how do we get past that energy shields? Even with our reverse-engineered technology, a frontal assault would be suicide. Chen's face broke into a grim smile. That's where our secret weapon comes in. She nodded to a group of civilians standing off to the side. Dr. Adebayo, if you would. The Nigerian scientist stepped forward, holding what looked like a simple canister. This, he said, his voice filled with pride, contains the bacterial compound we developed. When released, it will temporarily disrupt the Zarkonians' biological functions, including their ability to maintain their energy shields. A murmur of excitement rippled through the crowd. This was it, their chance to turn the tide once and for all. As the human forces made their final preparations, high above the earth, Admiral Krelvax was facing a crisis of his own. The Zarkonian invasion, once thought to be an easy conquest, had turned into a costly quagmire. Status report, Krelvax demanded, his tentacles twitching with agitation. Sub-Commander 6 approached, his usual confidence replaced by obvious concern. Admiral, our forces are facing unprecedented resistance. The humans have adapted our technology faster than we thought possible. Our supply lines are stretched thin, and morale among the troops is wavering. Krelvax's eyes narrowed. Wavering. We are the Zarkonian Empire. We do not waver. With all due respect, Admiral, Zix pressed on, many of our soldiers are beginning to question the wisdom of this invasion. The humans' tenacity and ingenuity have impressed them. Before Krelvax could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. We're under attack, a junior officer shouted. Outside, the sky had come alive with human aircraft. Fighters darted between lumbering alien ships, their weapons now augmented with reverse-engineered Zarkonian technology. But this was merely a distraction. As the aerial battle raged, a small, stealthy craft approached the underbelly of the Zarkonian command ship. Inside, an elite team of human operatives prepared for the most important mission of their lives. Major Sarah Connor, a veteran of a dozen impossible missions, addressed her team. Remember, folks, we've got one shot at this. Dr. Adebayo's compound will only work for a short time. We get in, we plant the charges, we get out. The fate of our world depends on us. As the craft docked with the alien vessel, the human team moved with practiced precision. They encountered little initial resistance. The Zarkonians, overconfident in their shields, had left their internal security light. But as the team approached the ship's core, they met with fierce resistance. Zarkonian soldiers, that alien physiology making them formidable opponents in close quarters, engaged the humans in a brutal firefight. Corporal Raj Patel, the team's tech expert, worked frantically to bypass the alien security systems. "Major," he shouted over the din of battle, "I'm in. Releasing the compound now." A fine mist filled the air, and for a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, one by one, the Zarkonian soldiers began to falter. Their movements became sluggish, their aim erratic. "It's working," Dr. Elena Rossi, who had insisted on joining the mission to monitor the compound's effects, exclaimed. "Quick, while they're incapacitated." The human team surged forward, planting explosive charges at key points throughout the ship. As they worked, Major Connor couldn't help but feel a pang of sympathy for the alien soldiers. They looked confused, afraid, all too human in their vulnerability. With the charges set, the team began their frantic escape. But as they neared their extraction point, they encountered an unexpected obstacle: Admiral Krelvax himself, flanked by his elite guard. "You primitives," Krelvax snarled, his voice distorted by the effects of the compound, but still filled with rage. "You dared to invade my ship." Major Connor stepped forward, her weapon trained on the alien leader. "This ends now, Admiral. Your invasion has failed. Surrender, and we can end this without further bloodshed." For a moment, it seemed as though Krelvax might actually consider the offer. But then, with a roar of defiance, he lunged forward. What followed was a battle that would be remembered in human history for centuries to come. The human team, outnumbered and outgunned, fought with everything they had. Major Connor found herself in direct combat with Krelvax, the fate of two species hanging in the balance. As they grappled, Connor managed to lock eyes with the alien admiral. "Why?" she gasped, dodging a swipe from his tentacles. "Why invade us? We could have been allies." Krelvax paused, his alien features unreadable. Because that's what we do. We conquer. It's all we know." In that moment, Connor saw not a monstrous invader, but a being trapped by its own history and expectations. With a surge of strength, she pinned Krelvax to the ground. "It doesn't have to be that way," she said, her voice firm but not unkind. "Surrender now, and let's find a better path for both our species." As alarms blared and the ship shuddered around them, Krelvax made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. I surrender," he said, his voice barely a whisper. With the Zarkonian leadership captured and their command ship disabled, the invasion crumbled. Across the Earth, alien forces laid down their arms, many expressing relief that the conflict was over. As the sun set on the day that would come to be known as Victory Day, humanity looked to the stars with new eyes. They had faced their greatest challenge and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. The war had brought out the best in humanity, their creativity, their resilience, and their capacity for compassion, even in the face of a ruthless enemy. The message to the galaxy was clear. Humanity was ready to take its place among the stars, and any force that underestimated them did so at their own peril. Alien perspective. In the aftermath of the failed invasion, the Zarkonian prisoners of war found themselves in a situation they had never imagined possible. Instead of the brutal retaliation they expected, they were met with a perplexing mix of caution and curiosity from their human captors. Grelnax, a young Zarkonian soldier, sat in a specially designed containment cell, his tentacles curled around himself in a gesture of uncertainty. A human scientist, Dr. Samantha Lee, approached his cell, her face a mask of professional interest. "Hello, Grelnax," she said, her voice soft but clear. "I'm Dr. Lee. I'm here to learn more about your people. Would you be willing to talk with me?" Grelnax's four eyes blinked in surprise. In all the worlds the Zarkonians had conquered, never had they encountered a species that sought to understand them after defeat. You wish to learn, not to punish." Dr. Lee smiled, a gesture that Grelnax found oddly comforting despite its alien nature. "We believe that understanding is the key to preventing future conflicts. Tell me, what made you join this invasion?" As Grelnax began to speak, sharing tales of Zarkonian history and culture, a similar scene was playing out in holding facilities around the world. Humans, driven by an insatiable curiosity, sought to learn everything they could about their former invaders. Meanwhile, aboard the captured Zarkonian command ship, a team of human and cooperative Zarkonian engineers worked to unlock the secrets of alien technology. Subcommander 6, who had chosen to assist the humans in exchange for leniency, found himself constantly amazed by their approach to problem-solving. "You combine technologies in ways we never considered," Zix remarked to Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the lead engineer on the project. "It's innovative." Dr. Tanaka grinned, her hands deep in the guts of a Zarkonian propulsion system. "That's humanity for you. We've always been good at making the most of what we have. Necessity is the mother of invention, as we say." Zix's tentacles curled in thought. Perhaps that is why you were able to resist us so effectively. We had grown complacent in our technological superiority. As the days turned to weeks, the Zarkonians began to see humanity in a new light. They were not the primitive, easily conquered species they had first assumed. Instead, they were a complex, multifaceted civilization capable of great destruction, but also of remarkable compassion and creativity. Admiral Krelvax, now the highest-ranking Zarkonian prisoner, found himself in regular meetings with human leaders. Today, he sat across from President Rodriguez, General Chen, and a panel of international representatives. "Admiral," Rodriguez began, her tone firm but not hostile, "we've been discussing the future of Earth-Zarkonian relations. We believe there's an opportunity here for both our species to benefit." Krelvax's tentacles twitched nervously. "Benefit? After what we did to your world?" General Chen leaned forward. "We've suffered great losses, it's true, but we've also gained invaluable knowledge and technology. We're proposing a conditional peace treaty." As the humans outlined their proposal, a cultural and technological exchange program, reparations in the form of Zarkonian assistance in rebuilding Earth, and a promise of mutual defense against other potential threats, Krelvax found himself re-evaluating everything he thought he knew about warfare and diplomacy. "You would trust us?" he asked, his voice tinged with disbelief. "Trust, but verify," President Rodriguez replied with a small smile. "We believe in second chances, Admiral. This is yours, and ours, to build a better future for both our species." As news of the proposed treaty spread among the Zarkonian prisoners, it sparked intense debate. Many, like Grelnax, were eager to embrace this new path. Others remained skeptical, unable to shake off centuries of ingrained imperial ideology. In a communal area of the main holding facility, Grelnax engaged in a heated discussion with Trazalok, an older soldier set in his ways. "Can't you see?" Grelnax argued, his tentacles gesticulating wildly. "The humans have shown us a different way. They could have destroyed us, but instead, they offer cooperation." Trazalok scoffed. "It's a trick. No species could be so forgiving." "But that's just it," Grelnax insisted. "They're not just forgiving, they're pragmatic. They see the potential benefits of alliance over continued conflict. It's admirable." As the Zarkonians grappled with their new reality, humans too were adjusting their worldview. The knowledge that they were not alone in the universe, and that they had successfully defended their planet against an advanced alien species, had profound effects on human society. Dr. Elena Rossi, addressing a global scientific conference, summed up the prevailing sentiment. "The Zarkonian invasion, as tragic as it was, has catapulted our scientific understanding forward by centuries. More importantly, it has united humanity in a way we've never seen before. We stand at the threshold of a new era, not just for Earth, but for our place in the galactic community." As the conference hall erupted in applause, screens around the world broadcast images of human and Zarkonian scientists working side by side, of alien technology being integrated into Earth's infrastructure to aid in reconstruction efforts, and of cultural exchange programs bridging the gap between two vastly different species. In orbit, the once menacing Zirconian ships now served as a symbol of this new cooperation. Human astronauts trained alongside Zirconian spacefarers, preparing for joint missions to explore the solar system and beyond. Admiral Krelvax, watching this collaboration from his supervised quarters, felt a strange new emotion stirring within him. It took him a moment to recognize it: hope. Perhaps, he mused to himself, conquest isn't the only path to greatness. Perhaps the humans have shown us a better way. As Earth continued its recovery and the Zirconians adapted to their new role as allies rather than conquerors, the galaxy watched with interest. The story of how a primitive species had not only repelled an invasion by a superior force, but had then turned that force into a partner was spreading across the stars. In the great galactic community, whispers began to circulate: be careful of the humans. They are young, yes, but they are fierce in battle and wise in victory. Underestimate them at your peril. And so, as the sun set on another day of this new era, both humans and Zirconians looked to the stars with a shared sense of wonder and possibility. The future, once so uncertain, now seemed bright with the promise of exploration, cooperation, and growth. The invasion had ended, but humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. Aftermath and reflection. 5 years had passed since the day the Zirconian invasion force surrendered. Earth, once ravaged by the conflict, was now a planet transformed. The skylines of major cities were a breathtaking blend of human and alien architecture, a visual testament to the unprecedented cooperation between the two species. At the newly established Galactic Relations Center in Geneva, a joint human-Zirconian committee was in session. The room buzzed with a mix of human voices and the melodic tones of Zirconian speech synthesizers. Dr. Samantha Lee, now the head of Xenocultural Studies, addressed the assembly. Distinguished colleagues, 5 years ago, we were enemies locked in a battle for survival. Today, we sit together as partners, shaping the future of not just our two species, but potentially the entire galaxy. Brelnax, who had become a key figure in Zirconian human relations, added, "The progress we've made is unprecedented. Our combined scientific advancements have cured diseases, revolutionized energy production, and pushed the boundaries of space exploration." As if on cue, screens around the room lit up with a live feed from Mars. A joint human-Zirconian colony, gleaming under the red Martian sky, stood as a shining example of what could be achieved through cooperation. Meanwhile, in classrooms around the world, a new generation was growing up with a perspective vastly different from their parents. Children learned about alien cultures alongside human history, and interspecies friendships were becoming commonplace. In one such classroom in Nairobi, a young human girl named Amara raised her hand. "Miss Oching, is it true that the Zirconians used to be our enemies?" The teacher, a veteran of the invasion-turned-educator, smiled gently. "Yes, Amara, but it's also true that they became our greatest allies. It's a powerful lesson in the importance of understanding and forgiveness." As humanity continued to integrate alien technology and knowledge, they also shared their own unique perspectives and innovations. The Zirconians, once dismissive of human primitive technology, found themselves continually surprised by human ingenuity. In a research facility in Tokyo, Zirconian scientist Vexlor marveled at a demonstration of a new AI system that combined human neural network designs with Zirconian quantum computing. "Remarkable," Vexlor commented to his human colleague, Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka. "Your species' ability to think outside the box, as you say, continues to astonish me." Dr. Tanaka grinned. "That's the beauty of collaboration, Vexlor. We each bring our own strengths to the table." But perhaps the most profound changes were happening on a personal level. Humans and Zirconians were forming deep bonds of friendship, challenging preconceptions on both sides. In a park in Sydney, two unlikely friends sat enjoying the sunshine. Sarah Connor, the former major who had played a crucial role in ending the war, was engaged in animated conversation with Krelvax, the former Zarkonian admiral. "You know, Krelvax," Sarah mused, "if someone had told me 5 years ago that I'd be sitting here, sharing a meal with you, I'd have thought they were crazy." Krelvax's tentacles rippled in what Sarah had come to recognize as amusement. "Indeed, and if someone had told me that defeat would lead to the greatest period of growth and enlightenment in Zarkonian history, I would have had them sent for mental evaluation." As they laughed together, a group of children, human and Zarkonian, ran past, playing an improvised game that blended elements from both cultures. Sarah watched them with a smile. Look at them. To these kids, this is just normal. They'll grow up in a world where interspecies cooperation is a given, not a hard-won achievement. Krelvax nodded thoughtfully. It gives one hope for the future. That future was rapidly expanding beyond Earth and its immediate solar system. The combined knowledge and technology of humans and Zarkonians had accelerated space exploration exponentially. In a press conference at the United Nations, now expanded to include Zarkonian representatives, President Rodriguez, serving her final term, made a historic announcement. "Today, I am proud to declare that the first joint human-Zarkonian deep space expedition is ready for launch. The Starship Unity will journey further than any Earth vessel has ever gone, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of two species once at war, now united in the pursuit of knowledge and peace." As images of the sleek, hybrid technology Starship filled screens worldwide, a sense of excitement and possibility swept across the globe. Humanity, in partnership with their former enemies, was taking its first true steps into the galactic community. But this newfound unity and technological advancement didn't come without challenges. Some humans and Zarkonians still harbored resentment over the war, and integrating two vastly different cultures and physiologies presented ongoing hurdles. Moreover, as news of Earth's transformation spread across the galaxy, other alien species began to take notice. Some were intrigued by the potential for peaceful cooperation, while others saw the human-Zarkonian alliance as a potential threat. In a secure briefing room, General Chen, now the head of Earth's combined defense forces, addressed a group of human and Zarkonian military leaders. "We've received reports of increased activity at the edges of our solar system," she announced gravely. "It seems our little experiment in interspecies cooperation has attracted some attention, not all of it friendly." A Zarkonian commander, Zixara, spoke up. "We must be prepared to defend what we've built together. But perhaps we can also see this as an opportunity to extend our hand in friendship to new species, as the humans did with us." Chen nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. "Well said, Commander. We've learned that our greatest strength lies not in our weapons, but in our ability to turn enemies into allies." As the meeting adjourned, Chen found herself reflecting on the incredible journey of the past 5 years. The invasion that had nearly destroyed humanity had instead propelled them into a new era of growth, discovery, and interstellar diplomacy. Looking out the window at the bustling multi-species city below, she felt a profound sense of pride and hope. Humanity had not only survived its trial by fire, but had emerged stronger, wiser, and ready to take its place among the stars. The message to the galaxy was clear. Earth was open for peaceful contact, eager to learn and share. But it was equally clear that anyone who underestimated this young, vibrant, interspecies civilization did so at their own peril. As the sun set on another day in this new era, humans and Zarkonians alike looked to the stars not with fear, but with a shared sense of wonder and anticipation. The invasion was history, but the greatest adventure, the exploration of the vast, unknown galaxy, was just beginning.